Hi there.
Hi, Adrian.
Hey there, Leslie Goldman. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. World peace breaks out.
Yeah, what does that mean, Leslie?
Well, we're in this historic moment in the history of peace on Earth, as you know.
This is true. We are at a watershed moment.
How'd you feel yesterday?
Well, I was pretty freaked out. I was scared, and I felt like no matter how much peace work we do, all that some asshole has to do is decide that it's time to be an asshole, and everything could go up in smoke.
Well, I felt kind of similar. I was, my mind was completely for mush,
Yeah.
sort of like in the egg beater.
Right?
And it was very stressful. And then this morning I woke up with some fresh inspiration, which is usually part of the history of peace on Earth.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of how it works is, for me, breakdowns lead to breakthroughs. You know what I'm saying, Adrian?
Well, tell me more about that. Have you had experience with that?
Well, it's one of the Enchanted era principles. Just you kind of get used to. You have a breakdown, and then from out of the breakdown, the soul emerges, and once again reestablishes order, peace, stability, and stuff like that. So yesterday, I woke up this morning really amazed with how easily my mind could be, and the mind of the nation and the mind of the world could be thrown into such a setup for, it's kind of like 9/11. It's like there became a whole new moment for the loss of civil liberties and freedoms because everybody got terrorized.
Yeah, I feel like they do that on purpose, and I call it group trauma.
Yeah, well, it was amazing to see how easy my own mind could get thrown into a state of trauma yesterday, and then depression, and then I wasn't thinking about my purpose, why I was born. I wasn't thinking about my soul identity. I wasn't thinking about anything. But then surprising, this morning I woke up with fresh energy, and I had my clarity how what happened yesterday and the trauma and how the world was put on alert was a prerequisite for today.
Okay, that sounds good. I also went through a similar period. I talked about it on my live stream this morning, where I looked at my thinking, I looked at my panic, I looked at my emotions, and then I looked at my thinking, and then I thought, wow, we've been under pressure, for many years, since like Vietnam, or maybe even since World War II. We've been living it with a sense of borrowed time, living with the sense that, and I think growing up under the nuclear shadow was part of that. You just thought your entire life could be stolen from you by people who were bigger and meaner, and like they're supposed to have your best interests at heart, but they could also just jack you around. I'm pretty tired of it. So I hear that you have spent your entire life creating tools for times like these.
Yeah, well, actually, Adrian, you and I are in the middle of this series. This was series 1. What did you think? It was called Mission Possible. Let's win this. I know that'll be
so good. It'll be mirrored probably, but in December we started doing a series of 5 talks about Mission Possible, and the idea about Mission Possible is that you were born on purpose. You and I and everybody here was born on purpose on a very special mission. And I used to feel bad. I think life justifies itself. But the fact of the matter is, I can't really shake the fact that I was given, or if I gave myself, a special mission of being born. And so we're here to empower everybody who has a high calling in life.
You almost need to be a ninja, with conditions in the world.
Yeah.
If you're not a ninja, how are you going to wake up the next morning, and how are you going to keep from committing suicide and assassinating your dreams how are you going to wake up the next morning with fresh inspiration if you don't have a few peacemakers tools, you know?
That's a very good point. That's why I call people in Team Gaia world-changing ninjas, because I feel like it's that energy, that sense of being, you know, so on purpose that you just can't be dragged down. So we were dragged down, and when they do stuff like that, Leslie, it's like it's a mass trauma. You know, it was January 2nd. We had just been having the holidays, and suddenly they're like, it's time to screw with you again.
Yeah, so they mess with our mind.
I feel like they do. I feel like they steal our energy and our well-being, and I don't think that it's okay.
So the question is, will the real CIA stand up?
So what do you mean when you say that?
Well, I think there's a central intelligence in the universe that inspires our mission, that inspires us to stand up, that inspires us to be ninjas in spite of what's apparently in chaos, that asks us to live our life purpose. And of course we have a lot of tools, and you know, we've agreed that one of the primary ninja tools is aligning our purpose with nature.
Correct. It is true. So that's like rule number one is get to know nature better, get to know your heart better, really get close to natural processes and just even the plant world, you know, get outside.
The technology of nature.
Yeah, the technology of nature has provided for humans abundantly for a long time. Don't know how long, but a long time.
Okay, so let me tell you about my inspiration this morning.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I started to think of one of the heroes that I was led to through my alliance and studies of Edmond Bordeaux-Seke, who was, I call, the 20th century Essene Renaissance pioneer, and his ally Bernard Jensen, who trained me in nature's original technology. Well, I woke up thinking of Roland, and he had won a what's that called?
Like a prize, an award?
Yeah, a prize. Okay. 2 years before World War I broke out, like there was he wrote 2 books right after World War I, and it was aimed at all the artists, intellectuals, luminaries. He called them luminaries.
Luminaries.
And he wrote this declaration on the independence of the mind.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So what year was this? Around 1918,
This was 1919,
That's
and he had
cool.
won the Nobel Peace Prize for literature 2 years before.
Wow.
And he wrote 2 books. He wrote Above the Battle, and then he wrote The Forerunners. And what are the Forerunners? What do you imagine?
The Forerunners, it sounds sort of like what we talk about group soul choosing to be born in order to help create a greater energy of love.
Yeah, the luminaries. So no matter who imagines they've created a central intelligence agency to do the works of instability in the world, there's another group of souls that are here to create stability. And how do they do that? Through living their mission that's possible in spite of all the chaos. They have to rise up and be ninja warriors of a sense, but they don't fight with weapons, they fight with
memes
and ideas.
Yeah, a meme actually, you know, we think of memes in a certain sense now because of Facebook. We think of memes as being like a picture with some words, and it's like a single unit. But in the brain science sense, a meme is actually a sticky idea, an idea that people can really get a hold of, and they understand what it is, and they can use it, work with it, and it gives them a whole different understanding. And ideas that catch on, like the idea of the 99% and the 1%, are what we call sticky memes. So you were saying that this guy who had written these books got in a little bit of trouble from the intellectuals of his day. Is that true?
Well, no. He actually wanted to align the Forerunners, which are the ninjas, and the luminaries. He was completely distraught from the 5 years of loss of life during World War I. In other words, the intellectuals, the artists, he talks about how we were all propagandized and we turned our talents to being taken over by these forces of disruption rather than.
Oh, so he was already noticing propaganda. Propaganda was already a thing.
Well, we were working in arm in arm with the government. In a sense, the artists gave up their birthright to create memes of peace for. So he was taking a stand for the independence of the mind in spite of all the chaos. And so he wrote this declaration of independence of the mind, and then he wrote letters, including to President Wilson, and he had the luminaries of his time sign this declaration. And the first one who signed it was Jane Addams.
Who's that?
Jane Addams. She was a great suffrage.
A suffragette.
Yeah, in the
got
United States, and the great minds of the world. There was a whole list of who.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like Bertrand Russell. The only U.S. one that I noticed, and in the end of this book, The Forerunners, here was part of the list. And the only one that I recognize, from the time back then, was Scott Nearing, who from the USA, and different ones from Germany. I think Albert Einstein was still in Germany when this was going on. Hermann Hesse, these were like the great thinkers, and he was saying, "Come on, we've got to come out of this chaotic period and be the luminaries that we were meant to be."
So are you, I feel like what you're implying is that the people who have wanted war and the people who have gone and declared it, even though the people were not interested and they were suffering great losses, those people have been here for a while, and the sole event of claiming your power is something that has also been ongoing. It's like it comes in waves.
Well, actually, that's why I could say world peace breaks out, because this is a moment. I'll get to that one.
Okay.
So, like for instance, in his Declaration of Independence of Mind, he says, "Brain workers, comrades scattered throughout the world, kept apart for 5 years by the armies, the censorship, and the mutual hatred of the warring nations. Now that barriers are falling and frontiers are being reopened, we issue to you a call to reconstitute our brotherly, and I'll add sisterly, union, to make of it a new union, more firmly founded and more strongly built than that which has previously existed. The war has disordered our ranks." The war always disorders our ranks.
That's what it's for. It's
It's
to
money.
like
It's a money maker, but it hurts. Most of the intellectuals placed their science, their art, their reason at the service of the governments. We do not wish to formulate any accusations, to launch any reproaches. We know the weakness of the individual mind and the elemental strength of great collective currents. And then he's calling upon the forerunners to sign this Declaration of Independence of the Mind, and he supports them in this book. And the book is filled. I just ordered myself a copy. It's available.
So the Forerunners, is this all part of the Forerunners book? So
and
the Forerunners by Romain Rolland.
Yeah, and he was, I became aware of him through, he was admired by Edmond Bordeaux-Seke, who is co-founder of National Paradigm.
Okay, cool. That is awesome. I think we have a little visitor here. A little moth is in our midst.
It's a little
guest.
It's stabilizing.
It could be Seke.
Yeah, it's a message.
He might be visiting.
Okay, so he had all these people sign the
I
list.
like it.
Okay, so then, independent of the forerunners, I had already, well, to answer your question, the CIA has always existed since the beginning of pre-time. There have always been souls who have represented the central intelligence agency of the universe through their birth. And any other, what you would call duplication, replication, or download of that concept owned by government is just a subjugation of a grander, greater, soul-inspired idea that already is inherent in our birth contract, that we have this mission, and the mission, as Romain Rolland saw it, and as you see it, is that we're going to win this. We can do it, right?
We can do it.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
Okay.
That's my cheer.
Okay, so this is what happened. And these are some of the ideas that we teach in Let's Win This and
What is it called? GAIA's Enchanted Garden Team.
Okay, and people can join our club for free. Rendition that I did this morning when I was writing was, to join the club is free, and if people want to help with our administrative cause,
Yeah, I haven't created the donation page, but we do have one donation page going.
Well, yeah, it's at, what is it, URL?
tinyurl.com / join EG Club.
That's it, Join EG Club?
Join EG Club.
Okay, and you can make a donation there. And independent of what Romain Rolland was saying, being that we're all the same soul group of all the luminaries, which of course...
Which you are as well.
Which you.
You, and you, and you, and you.
You,
Hi.
Get up.
Hey
get
there,
up.
so we have Veronica and Wendy and Miguel and Kale.
Just remember, world peace breaks out because of you. And it keeps breaking out. And we include our breakdowns and our breakthroughs. Okay, so in 1983, I was inspired with a team to create a world peace celebration.
Really, here in San Diego?
Yeah, it was in Starlight Bowl. And I'm actually going through photos, and here's like one of the sheets of the actual event. Like here's some pictures of me, and Shlomo Carlebach came down, and
really?
the rabbi, and William Ora, and the Heart Space crew, and different, it was musicians. It was all-day event in Starlight Bowl. And this Declaration of Interdependence, which of course there had been a lot of other declarations of interdependence, but I called this the World Peace Celebration Declaration. So you almost have to celebrate, and that's where I got the idea for today's live stream, World Peace Breaks Out.
I like it. If they can declare war without our permission, then we can declare peace without theirs.
I think it's... Okay. So what I had done was, this was my project for a number of years following the event, and there's a picture of Robert Mueller.
And there's a picture of Leslie Goldman,
Yeah.
what, age 25?
No, in my 30s.
In your 30s, you were young.
So
Okay.
this was about declaring peace, and Robert Mueller, who was Under Secretary General for the United Nations, he was impressed by my nature work when he observed it at a conference called the Mandala Conference that David Harris put on in San Diego. We had our first...
Whoa, these are all the people who signed your Declaration of Interdependence?
Yes.
Stephen Halpern, all kinds of people. And this was back in 1983?
Who's this? Leonard Cohen, all kinds... Oh, there's your friend, James Shannon.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah,
person.
you do.
I do? Okay.
The Goat Man.
The Goat Man, the man who stares at goats, signed your Declaration of Interdependence.
We had my friend Stephen Fisk put on a Peacemakers gathering in Santa Barbara one year, and that's when I met him. But you see, the soul group always comes together, whether it's at conferences. The people we're meant to meet will eventually come into our lives because they're part of our pod, they're part of our soul group, they're part of our ninja team.
I love it. Our pod. I've always thought a dolphin pod was a great
We're in the
metaphor
same.
too.
We're in the same stream of consciousness.
I love it.
We're all swimming together.
We have a bunch of people. All our housemates are here, and they're trying to cook dinner pretty soon.
Okay,
so
well
we might need
let's
to
keep
wrap this up pretty
going.
quick.
So here's one of the points. Yeah.
Maybe they should just go ahead and cook their dinners and make as much noise as they want. How's
Well,
that?
if they'd like to, I think they should.
Okay, you can turn on the light and make noise, you guys. It's fine. You don't
Okay.
feel like it? Okay, cool.
Okay. So there was a lot of luminaries of
Medicine Eagle, lots of people. Yeah.
And so here's one of my favorite stories, just to tell you this is all true.
Okay.
I went up to San Francisco for the Whole Life Expo, San Francisco. Now, of course, I had started the closing ceremonies at the Los Angeles Whole Life Expos in the 80s, and that's where I met Shlomo Carlebach.
Look at the me who's on the phone. Then people can see your face better.
Okay, I'm going to look at you.
You can look at me on the phone, but don't block me out.
Okay, there you are.
Okay.
Hi, Adrian.
Hi, Leslie.
Okay, so all these people, which you could see in reverse, signed this declaration.
Okay, so you said that you went to San Francisco.
Yeah, and you know, this had already been written for the World Peace Celebration. It says, "This is my assurance and
insurance against war, that within me I am making peace. Let everyone know from this moment my declaration of interdependence with you, to my city, to my country, my planet, my universe, to my commitment to experience unity through diversity and personal and world transformation. We are seeds of peace. I am the earth and the fullness thereof."
Get it?
Signed, you.
Okay, so that's what we did, and William Mora helped me design this.
Scoot over a little. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so here's the story. I went to San Francisco, get this.
Okay.
I was collecting contributions to cover my admin expense of taking the trip. On a Saturday night, the next morning was Passover and Easter. And the next morning, I was meant to, I was orchestrating an event at the Moscone Center. So get this, Cale Walker. Who else is watching us?
Several people.
Really? Who?
My eyes aren't very good. We have Kale, we have Wendy Perkins, we have Wendy Perea, we have Miguel Elliott. Hi, Miguel.
Hi, Miguel.
And Dwayne Elvin. Woohoo! Hi, you guys.
Okay, so this is what happened, Dwayne. On a Saturday night in San Francisco, I was at the Moscone Center, and I wanted to be in good shape for this event on Passover and Easter that I was doing the next morning. And actually, there was a panel of speakers on the program. Stephen Fisk, the gentleman who started the farm in Tennessee. What was his name?
Stephen Gaskin.
Yeah, Stephen Gaskin. So on a Saturday night, I had collected all this money to pay for my trip, and I had the certain names of the luminaries of the time that were generally on the program there at the Whole Life Expo San Francisco. And I went to my hotel down the street that I spent $100 to stay. I checked in at midnight and I left at 6 a.m., okay?
Wow.
In
So
the morning.
what year is this again?
This was in, must have been 1984.
Okay.
So
So it was a year after your World Peace Celebration.
yeah, so what happened was, I had this list of the names,
Okay.
okay? And so I realized when I got to my hotel room that I lost the list.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I lost the list of the names, and I didn't know who it was that gave me money. and I was concerned that I needed to have my head on straight. In spite of assassinating my mind that night, I assassinated my mind.
How did you assassinate your mind?
Well,
Leslie?
I was worried about this list.
Because I was going to say you never did drugs or alcohol, so you didn't do
but
that assassinating.
I was very firmush about losing this list. I didn't even enjoy my room that I spent $100 in this exclusive San Francisco hotel. That was what it cost that night.
So there you were just beside yourself because of this piece of paper that you were missing.
Yeah, and so I got up very early, about 6 a.m. I went over to the Moscone auditorium, and I said, I must find this paper so I could be at peace for this Passover Easter celebration that I was about to do.
So this list of donors, this was like a list of donors that you were going to read out at the microphone or something?
No, I wasn't, but they were people that gave me money, $20.
And you wanted to make sure that you were able to thank them?
Well, I wanted to be responsible because I had promised them that their name was going to be on the poster.
Got it. And then you'd lost the paper.
Yeah,
okay,
with all the names.
This is a lot of names.
I know. So I got up, Adrienne, at 6 a.m. and I went to the Moscone Kale Walker, and I was looking around, and I needed to find my peace. I needed world peace to break out. I needed this, Dwayne, for my sanity to be returned. So I was walking around, and I took my hand, and I was walking through the whole Moscone, and I tried to retrace my steps of where I might have been. Where was the lost piece of paper? I stuck my hand in a trash can on the second floor without looking, and guess what I pulled out?
How did it get there? Had you ever been there before?
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, that's
amazing. I reached down. Doesn't that just give you chills on the back of your neck?
So you reached in
into a trash can without even looking.
In a place you'd never been before.
I don't know if I was there. But I reached in and I pulled out the list.
That's amazing. So does that mean that even when you're very worried, you may still be able to conjure a miracle?
You can if you use the Enchanted Garden era tools.
Yeah.
Now,
you mean the power of your supermind?
The power of your supermind and your belief in being a member of the Enchanted Garden Club.
All right.
Because the club is the name that I have renamed for the next decade, the Enchanted Garden era. And it's all based on people joining and acknowledging that they're in the club and that we're part of nature's technology. We are part of it because as that Enchanted Garden teaching by Leslie Goldman is, the Enchanted Garden, the soul and the earth are
soil mates.
Soil mates, right, Kale? Okay, so here it is. Here's the Enchanted Garden Club member for all the ninja luminaries of this time.
So yes, when you come to our little website, and if you send a donation, you'll be getting a copy of this in your email.
It's on the
page.
And it's on the page too.
So if you think that you might be one of the luminaries who's helping bring in 1,000 years of peace simply by being here and all the wonderful ideas that come out of you and all the dreams that you hold, you might be an Enchanted Garden Club member. And you can go over to our page and find out if this fits you. But we're also going to read it out loud so you can find out here and now.
Well, these are the luminaries. These are the same people of all time that you're aligning with who are already in the club.
Right.
I mean, just because Romain Rolland passed on in whenever he left the body in that incarnation, of course the soul is still with us, and of course the soul of all the luminaries. So it's important to connect with who our soul group activity is.
This is
who's the real CIA.
So when you talk about soul group activity, you're talking about how there are people who have been friends with each other through many incarnations. They've been friends, they've been family, they've gone through the Crusades together, they've gone through all these different historical times together. You keep looking for your same friends again and again.
And you find them.
And you find them, and you're comfortable with them, so that's how you know that they're your friends for so many, incarnations. So what you're really reminding me, Leslie, is that, we talk about the great thinkers and the great philosophers of all the ages, but none of that means a person's greatness as a philosopher means nothing unless they were standing for peace and standing for truth and love, because those are like eternal, enduring core values.
Mhm.
You know, they talk about the family values in the public milieu, about, you know, standing for country and honor and the flag. And there are even deeper values, you know, between human beings across all cultures and all around the world and throughout all of time. And that is what the Enchanted Garden Club is all about. So I know that this is coming up mirrored because of the way that we're shooting this video. But I'll read to you the Enchanted Garden Club member pledge. And if, when I read this, you resonate with it, I want you to hit your like or love button and send up a bunch of love sparks, okay?
And what was that URL?
Well, the URL to find this yourself is
And you paste and
tiny,
copy.
so www.tinyurl.com/join EG Club. So like join Enchanted Garden Club. And you can find all of the things that you need there. You can make a donation if you feel like it. You can find all the materials that you need to know about Leslie Goldman's work and
Adrian Prince's work.
and your own soul group's work.
Okay.
I am an Enchanted Garden Club member. So remember, if any of this resonates, just start hitting your like button. It will be really fun for us to watch the hearts float up. Oh, patient Mother Earth, let us walk together more closely. Do you want to read some?
I'll read it with you.
Okay.
I accept your fulfillment as a byproduct of my own fertile, deep dreams flowering.
Remind me that all natural things on earth grow from seeds.
Open in me the wisdom contained in a tiny seed.
That I might too experience how dreams grow naturally.
The
Enchanted Garden, a name for the new earth,
growing through me
starts here and now. I am a sacred seed. Woo!
And here's the last paragraph. So go ahead, and most people watching this are already members of the club.
This is true.
Okay, but here's what Romain Rolland, how he finished his proclamation in 1919. He says, "Arise, let us free the mind from these compromises, from these unworthy alliances, from these veiled slaveries. Mind is no one's servitor. It is we who are the servitors of mind. We have no other master. We exist to bear its light, to defend its light, to rally round it all the strayed sheep of mankind. Our role, our duty,
is to be a center of stability, to point out the pole star amid the whirlwind of passions in the night.
Okay.
Among these passions of pride and our passions of pride and mutual destruction, we make no choice. We reject them all. Truth only do we honor. Truth that is free, frontierless, limitless. Truth that knows not of the prejudices of race or caste. So that.
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's the idea.
You get
And
the
it's
idea?
still true. So we talk now, we've got new words to talk about things. We talk about alignment. We talk about vibration. We talk about frequency. We talk about the heart. And those are all terms that they've used in the past hundreds of years, but now we've really come to see scientifically how all of this stuff about frequency, alignment, vibration, and truth are all very, very essential to creating the kind of world we actually want to see.
So thank you for joining the Enchanted Garden Club. And
I like this one.
yeah, well, invite us to the free talk. I like your latest
yeah.
message. How do
Oh,
we hear
thank
your
you.
message?
So on my phone number, you really want me to give my phone number?
Yeah, you might.
I don't think so.
Okay, well then
If
don't
you
do
are,
it.
no, I won't do it. We'll post something later. So we give a free talk about the importance of aligning our missions with nature. We give this talk at spiritual centers, at progressive workplaces that are mission-led, activist groups, schools, And what we do is we remind people that the mission that you are on as a group is super important, and we plant dreams with you.
Literally plant dreams, right?
Right, exactly.
Seeds.
We take special seeds and everyone plants them in the pot, and they talk about what their dream is. And that way everyone gets to hold each other's dreams as important.
Because we're all growing in the same pot, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so don't forget, this is the history of peace on earth, and you're part of it. Goodbye.
Mwah.